Good evening and welcome to the July 18th, 2022 City Council of Connersville. It's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilwoman Diana Phillips.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't see Pastor Reynolds, so everyone can have a seat. Begin the meeting. Make sure your phones are in the off position. We will begin with roll call.
Councilwoman Phillips.
Present.
Councilman Robb. Is he on Zoom or?
See if John is.
Is somebody on Zoom?
Okay.
Go ahead and do the rest.
Okay.
Brian.
Councilman Gray.
Present.
Councilman Collins.
Present.
Councilman Warner.
Here.
Councilwoman Barrett.
Present.
And Councilman Williams
Junior.
is.
We have enough for a quorum, but we had to zoom in.
He's probably thinking. Should I text him?
Oh, that's John.
No, that's John.
Well, that's up and running, but
Is he on?
not yet.
Okay, we'll go ahead and start. We have enough for quorum, so we'll go ahead and move on. You have the minutes from the July 5th, 2022 regular meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Second.
And a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Move on down to new business. We have a public hearing for the petition to vacate an alley and approval pending ordinance 3796. Sharon's here. Introduce yourself. Oh, that's fine. I didn't.
And obviously Sharon can fill in any questions you may have, but we're petition to vacate the alley. Mr. and Mrs. Cranville actually own one lot on one side, and she's the director and operator of the Whole Family Community Initiative, who owns the other lots. This is part of lot 17 and lot 18, and the alley actually runs in between. It's not developed. They're hoping to add, I believe, a fitness and education center.
Yes.
And so that's the purpose of vacating it, so they can utilize that whole space.
I know, Jeff, you've been following this. Is everything good on your end?
Everything's good on my end as far as the petition and the requests. Have we have any knowledge at all from the adjoining property owners other than hers?
Right, no, she abuts
She
all the way
owns
around
all
it.
four?
Mhm.
Okay.
Any questions from council? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve pending ordinance 3796.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And I have a motion for a third and final reading.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Moving down to item B, Scott's gonna come up.
Good evening. Before I introduce Dave, I was going to go over some recent news. I gave everybody a packet I printed out today, just some information on a grant that I received. IDHS is awarding us $31,000 to purchase a customized training container. We'll watch a video here in just a second. John will pull up for us. I applied for this grant back in, I believe it was after the May 2nd Board of Works meeting. I went back to my office, got an email right after the Board of Works meeting, said this grant cycle was open. It was only open for like a couple weeks, and then I think the following meeting I had to be off, so I talked to the mayor several times. He said just apply for it. I showed him the flyer that my assistant chief had went to the FDIC show in Indianapolis. He brought that flyer back and showed that training container to me, and we watched the video at the station in the office, and it's really neat. It gives you the opportunity to do so many different scenarios that we can't do on a daily basis. Every now and then, we'll have somebody local that'll be gracious enough to let us train in maybe a vacant house they're gonna tear down. We'll do a lot of search and rescue, but there's so many things you can't do. You know, we can't go cut the roof open, you know, because then it's just gonna fill up full of rain. A lot of the training you're gonna see on here, but a lot of the training, you know, that we like to do just requires us to destroy things, you know, and tear things up. So having a piece of equipment like this is gonna be huge for us. The total cost for it was $36,000. The Lions Club donated $5,000 several years ago to go towards training infrastructure or facility. And during the grant process, that's one of the questions they ask you if you have money to go towards what you're applying for. So the total cost is $36,000. They awarded us $31,000 to purchase that. So that was some good news for us. We're going to be able to use that. Obviously, what Dave's going to talk about here in a minute, some of the stuff we've been working on. Dave, you might go ahead and come up here, Dave. I'll introduce Dave. He's the chair over the Public Safety Division at Ivy Tech in Indianapolis. Basically, I've known Dave for probably a couple years now. I went and took my inspector course up there and got to meet Dave. I took a rope rescue class at the same Lawrence Fire Station probably almost 20 years ago. This fire station up there, half of it is a fire station, half of it is an Ivy Tech training facility. It's really, really cool. So when I took my inspector class, I come back and basically I sent him like a 1 or 2 sentence email that said, I would love to replicate what you guys are doing up there. Somehow, even if it's on a smaller scale. I said, I would love to bring some training here. This side of the state is lacking training, and he'll tell you the same thing. If we could just bring some more training to this area, a lot of you have probably seen our posts, the classes that we're offering here lately. Dave's been a huge part of that. So that being said, you know, we'll just watch this video for a sec. Cool. We'll watch this video first. That way you guys can see the piece of equipment that we're about to get, and then I'll let Dave get up here and talk a little bit too about what we're getting ready to do. So.
And fire training brought to you by Taylor. Over the past few years, we've worked with multiple different fire departments, and we've realized that there's a real need for more on-site training at each fire department. Now, our goal was to make it so that any fire department could have the ability to have on-site training. In order for every station to have access to on-site training, there were 3 key components that we had to keep in mind. The first one being size. Our prop is 8 foot wide by 16 foot long, making it fit into the confines of any parking spot. Number 2, mobility. We wanted our prop to be able to be moved around site or pulled into a truck bay, hence our clip-and-go wheel system. Number 3, functionality. We didn't want training to become redundant in such a small space, so we have multiple different functions on our prop and the ability to add on to at any time. Our tailored prop is made up of 2 key sections, side A and side B. Side A has a footprint of 4 foot wide by 8 foot long. Side B has a footprint of 8 foot wide by 8 foot long. Let's go over the key sections of side A. Our window prop has 3 key components. Number 1 is a piece of OSB or sheetrock that can be slid across the face of the window. Number 2 is our rebar holder. Rebar can be pushed in at the bottom and the top and held into place, replicating the bars on a window. The lower angle iron on our window prop can be removed to make it easier to go in and out of our window. The third component of our window is our window sash. 2 sleeves are placed inside to hold a 2x2 block into place. Our hinged window insert is designed to the exact size and specifications of a Denver prop drill. We wanted the walls on our tailored prop to be collapsed down easily. In order to do this, we've installed 2x4 hangers on both ends of the prop. And as you can see, this hull has now been collapsed down to 28 inches. Our forcible entry door is designed with 2 doors on 1 jamb. One to practice and simulate outer swinging doors, and the second to practice and imitate inner swinging doors. Forcible entry door has been designed with removable pieces in both the jamb and the container door, making it easy to change out between breaches. There's 2 ways to use our forcible entry door. The first way is by sliding the rod into the jamb wood. When you force the door open, that blows out your jamb wood, which is very easily replaceable. The second use is by putting a piece of 2x2 inside the sleeves on the outside. To make it more difficult, you can have the second one in on the bottom. The same system can be replicated with our inner swinging door.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you for some reason. I'll figure it out, but I can see it.
The second story roof window is made to slip into the same receiver slot as the rail system. As you can tell here, this makes it very easy to do high ladder work from the upper deck. The receiver pockets on both the bottom and top have been designed for any props that we have currently or in the future. Now let's take a look at some of the key components of side B. You'll see here our adjustable pitch roof. We've designed this with as little moving components as possible to make this very easy to adjust the pitch of the roof. As you can see now, it's adjusted to a 6/12 pitch. This can be taken all the way down to a flat roof. Let's show you how that's done. The 3 main components of our roof prop are our roof receiver, which hold the 2x6 at the top, our roof slide, which allows the 2x6 to slide through as we adjust the pitch, and then our roof catches. Our roof catches are made to hold the receiver in place as you adjust it up and down. As you can tell, the roof receiver has been completely disassembled. The 2x6s have been removed, and the safety posts on the end have been taken out. This yellow piece is its own separate piece and can be replaced with an 8-foot wide section or the 12-foot wide as you see here now. Depending on the desired roof pitch training for that day, this can be adjusted up and down to change your pitch. We're now training on a flat roof. In order to do this, we put our extension arms in the end, pin them into place. We drop our receivers down to the bottom notch, and our 2x6s are then inserted in. Once that's done, you have a 24-inch clearance underneath your flat roof prop. Another functionality of our roof prop is using just the receiver slide as holding your 2x6s. By doing this, you can adjust the pitch by shortening or extending your 2x6. A lot of times this is easier for guys who maybe aren't as experienced, or you're trying to do faster demonstrations to show guys the proper technique. Another component is our confined space training. As you can tell, there's a catch on the floor and on the ceiling, making it very easily to slide plywood in and out. These catches can be adjusted to be narrower or wider depending on the training needed that day. D-rings have been installed on the roof and on the floor to make it easy to install Romex, string, line, whatever is needed for confined space training. Receiver slots have been added on both sides of the roof to make it very easy to install our clip-and-go wheel system. As you can tell, the jack flips in the middle, cranks this side up, You install wheel 1. Wheel 2, and then lower it back down. Once this is done, you repeat the same process on the other side. The last and probably most important component of the tailored prop is that it is made out of standard height shipping containers. As you can tell, the corner castings will line up perfectly with any standard shipping container. We have it separated to show you that these can be added onto the end of any standard shipping container that you may currently already have on site. Now that we've gone over the main functions of the tailored prop, I can't reiterate enough, this is not meant to replace the necessary training needed at training towers. This is just to enhance the training at every fire station. And stay tuned as we continue to come up with more training devices and add-ons to the tailored prop. For more information, visit our website, tailored.com.
There's a lot of information there. I know, as you can tell, you know, like you said at the end of the video, those are made so you can attach them to other containers. The end goal, obviously, I've discussed with Mayor several times, is to eventually get some of the larger containers and we can do some live burn training, stuff that we usually have to send guys an hour away to classes to be able to experience that kind of scenario. But obviously, I got Dave here. Like I said, he's the chair over the public safety at Ivy Tech in Indianapolis. He's come down here graciously by my request to come down, and I know there's probably some questions. Everybody's been seeing the posts. We've been offering Firefighter 1 and 2 course this fall. We currently have a hazmat course going on. Tonight's the first night. Nate's up there teaching it right now. And then they're going to offer, Ivy Tech's going to offer the Fire 1 and 2 course this fall, and the goal is to, you know, keep doing that year after year. So he's going to come up and talk a little bit about, you know, what we've been, you know, working on, and if anybody has any questions.
Okay. Thank you, first of all, for the invite. I greatly appreciate your time on your schedule tonight. Like Chief said, my name is Dave Chrysler Jr. I'm with Ivy Tech, the Department Chair over Homeland Security, Public Safety, Paramedic Science, and Criminal Justice. But the reason I'm here tonight is to talk specifically about, within our Homeland Security Public Safety program, we have housed a degree in fire science. So that's for firefighters to have hazmat 1 and 2 and various other firefighting classes. So just for a real brief knockdown drag out history of what's going on, a couple years ago, probably 2018, 2017, we met with the state of Indiana Department of Homeland Security, and one of the regions of the state established as needing some help training wise was a district that if you swing from I-70 and go all the way down to I-65, so kind of like that piece of the pie, so to speak, from the state of Indiana. They just didn't have a lot of training offerings. So Sue Elsperman, and at the time the IDH director, who name is, I can't remember which one it was before Steve Cox. Anyway, I apologize for that. They signed this agreement. Well, then Chief here took our fire inspector class, which we successfully ran right when COVID shut everything down. So it was an amazing class that we got this accomplished. And that's when he sent me the email, was after that class. We were one of the few classes actually in the state of Indiana that was able to successfully complete during that time. Everything shut down, you know, you can't be with each other and all that. So he sends me I think it was 3 sentences, but it was a very short email about how we can do things together. Well, that kind of matched up with what I talked about with Homeland Security a couple years before. So things started falling into place a little bit. We let COVID cool its jets, and we was it last fall? We ran the Instructor 2 class. So last fall, we ran an Instructor 2 class here in Connersville. We had 11 students. They all passed. So there's Instructor 1, 2, and then Instructor 3, 4, and on up for IDHS, for the fire service. So we had Inspector 2 out here. We ran it at our Ivy Tech facility just up the street. We had all those students passed. 5 of those students were from the Connersville Fire Department. So then that allowed them to now do a whole lot of training, which I know their training hours have gone up like 80 some hours already this year. That's partly because they now have instructor twos that can offer that training. So that was one benefit. Well, then after we got instructor two under our belt, he and I emailed back and forth and decided, hey, why don't we run a Fire 1 and 2 class, because we could fill it. And I'm like, hoorah. So we had to go, we lucked into, and the mayor was part of this, we lucked into a temporary chancellor at Richmond that was all for all this. Well, she since moved on, but we got permission from Richmond, because that's what district, Ivy Tech District Connersville is in, to run this Fire 1 and 2 class. Me being the forward thinker that I'm not, I forgot that to get in Fire 1 and 2, everybody had to have hazmat awareness and ops before that. So they you've seen on Facebook, they graciously have started running a hazmat awareness and ops class. We went by there and talked to those students before we came in here tonight. It's a full class. There's like 25 people in that class. That's way better than I could have ever anticipated. And we did a straw poll sort of with just raised hands. 12 to 14 of those people are probably going to sign up for the 1 and 2 class. What that does is, one, that helps us bring more training to this region, because that's my goal on the college end. There's a need for trained individuals in the fire service. That's what we're bringing here. Connersville, through the the great support of the mayor and Scott and Nate, we now have a location to bring that training here to this region, and so far it looks like it's going to work really well. And that's the brief story of where we're at. Our goal, because I'm obviously Indianapolis, I have to get permission to run everything through Richmond and do some, box checking, if you will, on the Ivy Tech side of things. Our goal is to next summer run another hazmat class, but it be a college credit hazmat class, and then the Fire 1 and 2 in the fall, because that fits with what I'm doing in Indianapolis. Because I brought some fire gear out here for them to use for the hazmat class. We're probably going to have a little bit of a trade of instructors, because to evaluate people that can't be one of the people that have taught in the class. So my evaluators will probably come out here to do that. So there's kind of some trading going on, but in the long run, we're going to get you guys some really good quality firefighters out of this. Those people will go to volunteer fire departments, obviously, but it'll also hopefully give the town of Connersville a really good hiring base. And fire science is just the start. Homeland Security also covers OSHA classes and things like that. So as your new industries start kicking in here, my goal is to bring the rest of my program into Connersville. I have no idea how that's going to look right now, but that's the goal. So that's all I got. Does anybody have any questions?
We're definitely glad to have you.
I appreciate
It's
that.
wonderful.
This is my business card with my email. If you have any questions at all, don't think they're silly, don't think they're dumb or a bad question. Please email me. Love to talk to you guys. I actually love to come out here. I love to eat your food. I've been to three really great restaurants now. But I'm in it to win it, because there are a lot of people here that are probably interested in this training. Richmond probably doesn't have enough people to make a full-fledged Homeland Security public safety program, but so far I can administer it from Indianapolis, if that makes any sense, with the Richmond campus's help. That's my goal. Fire 1 and 2 is going to be our guinea pig class, but so far we're doing really good with it. So.
When you hire, now instead of having to do that after you hire, you can do it prior to hiring, and
Right.
it just speeds up the process
Right.
to get them.
Yeah, just having those offerings, out there. I mean, you'll have, a lot of people go to Ivy Tech to pursue, whatever, but now they can go to Ivy Tech to pursue, the fire service. As we have people go through our hiring process and go through the stages and come to the interview, common sense is going to tell you, if you've got 2 people and they perform, about the same throughout the whole process, the one with the training is probably going to get the edge. Right. So, yeah, we're excited about it. We're hoping that that's gonna grow our pool. Earlier, the Board of Works approved for me to start a new pool, start a new process to get a bigger pool. And hopefully this class, helps add to that. And, we're just excited about, offering, more training, and hopefully that develops into maybe offering some EMT courses down the road, or some paramedic courses, which I know we struggle with. Clint struggles with, getting paramedics, and I think if we can train, my thinking is if we can train people maybe at a younger age, I know the chief in Shelbyville real well, and they have like a vocational school over there, and they do EMT right out of that. They'll train, get EMT certs. And I think if we can get younger people more interested, maybe get those trainings when they're younger. You come out of high school with an EMT, and then you jump right into a paramedic program. At 21 years old, when you can go apply at these places, you got a paramedic, you got a local person that has less chance of going to another department somewhere else. So, we're trying to look ahead and seeing. Obviously we want to get through this, and so far so good. We had a good turnout tonight.
Yeah.
So we're real hopeful, and hopefully everything will work great. He's been great to work with. Like I said, it wasn't like I was going around Richmond. I just met Dave up there, and they've got that nice firehouse with the training facility, and I said, I would love to have that. I mean, not maybe on that scale, but just to have that opportunity. So he started working with me, and we've come a long way.
There's a huge need for it too, not just in Connersville, but across the state. I could show you hundreds of open job positions right now in just the fire service alone. They're out there. We need to get young kids, especially, supposedly Indiana's 33,000 paramedics short right now. That's insane. We can help somehow do that, and the city of Connersville right now is helping us do that for this area. And once we work out the kinks, because it's a new thing, we're figuring it out too. We'll get some people with maybe not necessarily college degrees, but like for instance, all these people in the hazmat class tonight, they do that hazmat, fire 1 and 2. They literally need one more class and they'll get a college certificate, a CT, 18-hour a college credit CT. That's pretty good, That's the other thing we're working towards, to get the education base. Doesn't have to be a 4-year degree at all, but to get you some qualified, just rock star candidates is what we're looking for.
Well, I'm happy to strengthen the relationship with Ivy Tech. I mean,
Appreciate that.
that's,
Yeah,
that's
and
a
that's
big,
our goal.
that's a big plus, yeah.
That's our goal.
Any other questions?
That was a goal from the beginning. I mean,
Absolutely.
we met from the beginning, and
Yeah.
my ultimate goal, I wanted to see it didn't scare him away, obviously.
No.
Because I gave him a lot of information where I want to see it with training, and because we have a lot of problems. We're trying to fill positions, but we see the problems out there. We're trying to find solutions for our problems. Our paramedics, our firefighters, police, everyone. And I think this is an answer to one of the solutions to start
It's a
creating
good
that
start.
pool.
Yeah.
And
It's a good start.
yeah, we're starting small. We're getting started. We're getting it ramped up. We're building a relationship with Ivy Tech, and we want to see them flourish, and we can flourish and start really offering some stuff that the whole state's having a problem finding, but hopefully we can find a solution for it.
Right.
That's my goal.
And this is just the beginning. We had to start somewhere. This is it, and I was telling Chief earlier, sometimes Ivy Tech sometimes has problems between different regions. We've lucked out we've gotten that all smoothed out now because of the success of the instructor class. Now we can move forward. We're gonna hope knock fire 1 and 2 out of the park, and then really think about, okay, what are we gonna do next for this program, for this community? So,
Well, it's a great partnership, and I'm glad we're doing it.
appreciate it.
Thank you
I'm-
so
Thank you for all you're putting into it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, move on down to item C. We have approval of pending orders 3797, which is amendment to the police salary ordinance. One of the things we want to do here is, the part-time rate was 1502, and obviously we're having a problem with overtime, and it's hard to get anyone to come in for that with just be a certified officer. So what we're looking to do is increase that to $25 per hour for it's called contract employees, which is a part-time employee. Any thoughts or questions on that? Or
Is this the only, yeah, I do. Is this the only change in the city's contract for the police department?
this is the salary ordinance, it's not the contract. Contract doesn't spell part-time wage.
I don't know, I just figure contract employees should be separated off of the actual contract.
This is not their contract, this is part-time employees.
I get that.
I see what you're saying though, but their contract was their 1099. Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 3797.
Motion. Second.
A motion is second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign.
No.
I have a motion, we had one no. We have a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed, same sign.
No.
We'll do it, the final reading next meeting. Item D, approval of resolution 2022-53, IC code transfer. Michelle, you wanna read that?
That is transferring $21,166.94 from utility water match to utility water O&M.
And we can take that with the next one if,
You can do the
Yes.
reimbursement if you'd like.
Okay, and that is reimbursing $150 into DOT motor supplies.
Any questions? Excuse me.
I
I'll
move
entertain a
it.
motion.
also moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve resolution 2022-53 and -54. I have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item F, Bill, you want to come up and do the pending ordinance 3791, solar energy ordinance?
Okay. Now, as the, agreed with Councilman Collins, he did bring up a couple legitimate points. So one thing that we added was the definition for the standalone energy system. And so that's at the very end of the definitions. And so the actual language is added for that. So, put the reading glasses on. It's the, okay. So the new it's adding a new definition for standalone solar energy system. The solar panels of a standalone solar energy system are not connected to an electric grid, but instead are used to charge a bank of batteries. These batteries store the power produced by the solar panels, and then the electrical loads draw their electricity from these batteries. And okay, so if it's a large scale, that's someone wants to go off grid, and that's a big project. But this one in particular tied in then with the lack of clarity, which was a solar energy system that occupies less than 120 square feet of panel, microscale. Standalone microscale systems are exempt from permits unless mounted on an occupied structure and are permitted in all zoning districts. Is one of the few things I can think of that someone might actually attach to their structure with a standalone system. Might be if someone is installing a charger for an electric vehicle, because you're not really going to generate a lot of electricity, along those lines. So that might be about one of the few reasons that you might ever want to attach it to a structure. And so the main part right there is I think the important one is that unless it's mounted on an occupied structure, so that would be a business structure where business activities take place, employees take place. Then the other one is occupied structure, that would be something on a dwelling which people actually use in there on the inside of, such as the house, the garage. It wouldn't necessarily be a shed, something like that, because those really aren't under the Indiana Building Code considered occupied structures. And I know, Councilman Collins, you had these concerns. Does this really take care of the concerns that you had?
And running it through Jeff, he was more clear with it, he was good with it, I believe.
Yeah.
I was speaking for him. So my issues was that when something was moved, even though it said no permit required, when you move it, it didn't require it, that wasn't clear in here. It wasn't said. So that was cleared up, the legality of it, the liability of it was cleared up. The only other question I have, is there anything else that may change, or is there anything else that applies to this that could potentially change that we vote on that would fall under us granting permission for something?
Right now, I don't see anything like that.
Okay.
But future, who knows what comes into play.
Right, I
So
understand.
if we find something in the
Make sure there's
future that
nothing
might
else out there.
require change, then it's just a matter of us coming back to the council and the commissioners and then amending the language as needed.
Right.
But this is the important part, this is the difficult part, and because we want is to get this in place. So that we don't have to, so if someone wants something on their dwelling, it's not sort of, where do we fit that in? And this way, everything, all the activities with them, they're all clear of when they're allowed, that they're legal, and this is how they're classified.
Yeah, and thank you. Appreciate
Oh, thank you for that.
Any other questions for Bill?
I'm happy to see that there's going to be some guidelines on installation of these units, although I'm not completely sold on that product for many different reasons, but I'm glad to see there's guidelines on it.
So, now, my understanding is that if the, so, although what happened is then the council this evening, then the commissioners tomorrow. If you approve this evening and then the commissioners approve tomorrow, essentially it just, all we have to do is tell the area plan commission, this is what's going on. They approve and they say, okay, boom, it doesn't have to come back to you because you've adopted, you've signed, is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. So if you sign it, you adopt it, you sign it, it has today's date. The area plan commission says everything, we're cool with it, we're good to go. And you won't have to have me talk to you again about this.
Alrighty, well, for
On that note, I make a motion to approve.
I'll second,
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll second it.
we have a motion and second to approve pending ordinance 3791 on first reading. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
And I will also work as being as brief tomorrow with the commissioners.
We're not done yet.
We're not,
We have a motion to suspend the rules.
second.
Have a motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Do you vote, Brian?
Yeah, aye.
Okay. And a motion for a third and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Okay, now it's carried.
Great, thank you. And so what we'll just do is if there isn't a problem with it, I'll just need a couple of copies then of the signed ordinance for my records.
Okay.
So we can wait until next week. All right, thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill.
Appreciate you.
Chief Bullis.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
I'd like to start out first by discussing what took place today at the Board of Works. I've presented them with a resignation for Joe Becker. He is now employed by the Sheriff's Department. And I also asked their permission to hire Ricardo Leon, who has been through all our testing processes and background checks and background by one of our detectives. So he's one of the 4 candidates that we did that background check with, and I presented that to them earlier today. Also, I had the opportunity about a year ago or so by the state of Indiana for a phlebotomy, law enforcement phlebotomy, and I thought there were some benefits to that. On certain scenarios where we're bound by a time frame for drawing blood and whatnot, so I inquired about that, and the program sounded like it would be a helpful unit for us here at Connersville. And I had Sergeant Brown attend that class, and there's some good benefits to this. Like I say, we're one of the few police departments in the state that have a law enforcement phlebotomist. So he's handing out a copy of our SOPs that we got okayed. I'll let Sergeant Brown discuss a little bit about the class and what this program entails and how it benefits our department.
All right, good evening. So this class was 40 hours, went up for a week. Up there we learned, you know, the medical terminology needed, and the areas of the body that we were going to be utilizing for blood draws. We've noticed in law enforcement the trend from alcohol DUIs, where traditionally we would do a certified breath test. We still do those. However, with the trending in drugs, we've noticed a big need for blood testing because there's no breath test offered to detect narcotic impairment. So this program was adopted. I think the first state to do it was Arizona. Indiana's the second. I think right now there are 20 to 25 law enforcement phlebotomists in the entire state certified to do this. So it was kind of the beginning of what will be a nationwide thing. I think that many states will adopt this. The benefits that it provides to us, number one, the state funds all of the equipment. They send everything we need. If I run out, I notify them, they send it down. There's no cost to the city. As he was talking about, Chief Bolus was talking about the time restraints we run into. Anytime there's a crash where there's a serious bodily injury or a fatality, a 3-hour window starts for us to collect evidence if we detect impairment or suspect any impairment on the driver. Since we don't have a level 1 trauma facility, a lot of times people involved in these crashes are flown out of state, sometimes to Cincinnati, Dayton, or Indianapolis to receive care. That puts us in a crunch trying to find an officer to go, and then we're removing an officer from the road to go to this hospital, try to collect the sample within the 3 hours, get back. So that's one big benefit. I can respond to the scene before the helicopter lifts off, literally get in the helicopter, obtain the sample I need, then they can take this person to be treated. The second big advantage to us is sometimes our hospital is packed and it's hard to get into. We've had officers sit sometimes 2-3 hours with an incarcerated subject that they're waiting to get a test on. And that's all we need is a test, but it's tying somebody up for 2 to 3 hours that could be responding to calls. So I'll be able to respond even if I'm at home. I can be called in to the scene, to wherever there's an environment that's approved by this policy, and I can obtain that sample. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you guys.
This isn't just for narcotics, though, you can do it for...
Yeah, this is blood, drugs, anything that you can do in a traditional blood test.
So, Chief, you're gonna be busy just being one guy on second shift. Is there more coming? I think it would be huge for more training.
Other phlebotomists?
Yeah.
Like other certified?
Other qualified, yeah.
I mean, I'll try to do that. That was my intention, to have a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not gonna happen every time. It's more under, depending on what the call is, that someone will be tied up at the scene for longer than 3 hours. Then we would utilize them. If we can get, you know, if it's not a serious enough scene where in an hour we can get him to the hospital and get the blood draw, then that's what will happen. I mean, he's not just gonna get called out if the time frame's there.
Right, yeah.
And this is, if you're familiar with the traditional Department of Toxicology kits, it's utilizing the same kits. It would just be me taking the sample, and the Department of Toxicology still does the testing.
I think having, I mean, it's great, but I think having an additional one would be huge
Sure.
for your versatility.
Yeah.
It's nice to be in the forefront to do this, so
Yes.
that I see no drawbacks.
I think many states will follow suit very soon with this. So.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't say this morning either. The prosecutor has been made aware of this. They're fully on board with doing this. So.
Well, good job. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Going into reports.
You're on your reports. You're fine.
Great. All right, everybody's got a copy of this. Our overtime's up a little bit, as to be expected. Any questions about our overtime at all?
Yeah, is that due to what?
Manpower issues.
Well,
That's the number one.
I get that, but I mean, is it because?
Vacations, well, obviously you know how it works there. It's vacation season. And due to us being lower manpower, it's creating a lot of overtime.
I mean, have you scheduled the new people on schedules to
Two of them that's already completed 40-hour pre-basic.
40 hour?
Yeah, plus some ride-alongs for about a month. We have one other guy, McClure, that's going with them end of August. He'll be close to getting on the road and working on his own. Might not, depends on how he progresses, on the street.
So basically, all you had was 2 new officers that was trying to fill up a gap.
Yeah, and here recently, just within the last couple of weeks, I'd say that they've been on their own since we've had them, after we put them through a program to ride along and take calls, and it's been a little bit.
All right.
John, did we lose Brian? Did we lose Brian?
He's there.
I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Couldn't see you, sorry.
Also, our gallons of fuel to remain relatively the same for the past 2 or 3 months.
I noticed I had a dollar sign beside it.
Yeah, that's the way the gas has been fluctuating. We haven't used any more than the past couple months. Training hours, we had 112 man-hour training. That includes one of our new guys, Officer McClure, going through his 40-hour pre-basic. And during our RRT training, we had a conservation officer from Versailles come up, and we had swiftwater rescue training last Wednesday or the Wednesday before, and we're going to do that for the first Wednesday of each month for the next couple months to get the whole department trained in swiftwater rescue. So, any questions?
I have a comment that's not related to this. I understand that there's been quite a move on apartment complexes to get the cars off the lots.
I don't know that they're targeting apartment complexes,
Well,
other than the whole city.
I realize that, but I know that there's complexes that has been taken care of, let's say it that way. Under some of this parking lot situation, I don't have a problem with you telling them that I complain about,
That you were the complainant?
yeah. I don't have a problem with that as long as I do it. As long as I'm the one complaining.
Right, and I've never told anybody that you were the complainant.
Okay.
I mean, if you were in that meeting, you would have understood what the conversation was. So you can't go off and just expect that that's only one side story. Obviously, they're not agreeing with the ordinance, right?
Right.
If you got told they're not agreeing with that ordinance, that was the discussion that was made. Also about registrations, okay? In a nutshell, I met with her for an hour. In a nutshell, I told her that state statute, state legislatures write the law.
Right.
We just enforce it. In the same token, ordinances isn't written by me, but we enforce it with Nick under the police department. And they don't agree with that, so I said, if you have a question about changing that ordinance, then ask your district councilman.
Okay.
Who is that? Clarence Warner's in your district. That's how your name came up.
Okay.
Not that you were a complainant. So you should get your facts a little straighter than that.
Well,
That's not what I said.
that's not the way it was presented to me.
But and that's the only person I met over there. That's the only person I met about the towing situation. I haven't spoke to anybody else, not even one of the residents.
But like
that
I said,
spoke
I don't
to.
have a problem with my name being thrown out if I'm the one complaining.
I agree, but that's not the facts.
And you can use my name anytime you want as far as complaints if I contact you.
And same here, same here. So that's not how the conversation went. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Director Pause.
Always feel like I'm juggling when I come up here.
You are.
Got to set several things over there at one time. For the month of June, I had 10 hours, 50 minutes of meeting program, 13 hours, 7 minutes of original program. Tonight I brought the award that we were presented at the national conference. So this is the award that we got for best of sports production, for live sports production. And a lot of that thanks goes to CHS Media as well. That's why I had their names put on it as well. We're going to actually take this and present it to CHS so they can display it in the media room. We have a copy for our office as well.
I'm sorry, he glossed over a word. I don't know if anyone caught it. That's a national
That's what I was getting ready
award.
to say, that's a national.
That's not state.
Yeah, that's
Not
national.
regional either.
He just said that national award like it's no big deal. That's a very big deal.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say kudos to you guys, kudos to the high school, everyone who really worked hard on doing that. You do a great job on our production. And to get a national award, I'm sorry, but that is a big deal.
Very big.
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought I might show you a few things about what we've been doing the last few months too. I've never done a slideshow before, since everybody else was doing it. This is something we've been doing during the summer, and that is Science Isn't Scary, out and about. So where we go out and we talk about science in different places. The person here is Julie Gregory. She does taxidermy. She also raises foxes and deer. So the fox were amazing. I had no idea. I'd never been that close to a fox. They were pretty amazing. She had fox pups too that you can apparently buy. And then we also recently did the Community Youth Day. We sat up there all day long and put kids in front of a green screen right here. We could see the girl is swimming. That actually is motion going by her, so it looks like she's swimming. We flew them and then put them on the moon as well. They had a blast. We had a
That's
line of kids
fantastic.
all day long. And then this is another Science Isn't Scary out and about. This is John Burns. He's a local pilot, built that airplane, and was telling us all about how it works. That's an episode that'll be coming up shortly. And then, oh yes.
We could have left that one off.
No. And then we also were out. This is Ruth Tomlin, turned 100 years old the other day. And so happy birthday to her. And she received the key to the city. So that was pretty special.
That was very
You made a 100-year-old lady cry.
Oh, you just could have cut me out of the
Happy,
picture. You'd have
happy
been fine.
tears, happy tears.
It was. She was very, very happy. Very impressed. So that's all I have. Any questions?
She didn't know she got to keep the key.
Oh,
She
really?
says, do I have to give this back to you now? I go, no, that's yours.
Oh, wow, that's great.
That's fantastic.
Wonderful.
Congratulations, Don.
Thank you.
Yes,
Very
absolutely.
good job.
Pass that on to the kids at CHS.
Chief Harden, how do you compete with a national award?
I don't know. I might as well hang it up and go home again. I don't know. Service should have a copy of my report. We had 331 calls for service. That puts our total so far 1,537 so far for this year. Got my staffing report there. We finally did receive an insurance check for damage caught. So I was just counting off weeks. It was supposed to be 8 weeks, and we're now at 10 since we ordered that caught. So I need to reach out to my rep tomorrow and find out where that little booger is. As of when I had written this, I did not have my fuel bills yet. There's some quirks with the new system, and we're kind of getting them at different times. So we gotta have the bill so I can make sure I got all the tickets that go with it. So that's pretty much it. I do have one truck that's been down for about a month due to repair. It's actually a Chevy dealer. No city garage looked at it and said, and I took it to the Ford place and they said nope. So it's at a Chevy dealer. So did have, if you look at the very last page, and I've mentioned this a couple of different times, that by federal law we had to get our own DEA license. This was something out of a 2017 federal bill, so it's taken 5 years to kind of get around. But so after lots of phone calls and lots of emails and lots of getting bits and pieces, we finally did get our DEA license. So I had never seen one, thought if you guys had never seen one, it was kind of something different. So I did have to redact some numbers just because of some security concerns with that number. But do anybody have any questions?
For the viewers, that's a drug enforcement.
Yeah, drug enforcement. In order for us to carry the medications that we use, before it was always under the authority of the hospital that sponsors us, and the feds in 2017 said that was no longer allowed. So we had to go and get our own licenses. So All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Superintendent Good.
Hi.
Hello.
Last day we reported, I gave you guys a update on our goals, so you could see where we were at with what we said we were gonna get done this year. So I'm just gonna give you a few facility updates, and if you have questions from what I missed last time, that's fine too. The pool is done, it's open. I did wanna let you know, I told the Board of Works this afternoon that when the liner was installed, they did not, put the lane line markers in the correct place. So it's nothing that is affecting any of the swimmers. It is just an error that needs to be corrected. It will be at no cost. But just as you get questioned here coming up right after Labor Day when we close, they will be taking the liner back out of the deep end and redoing the deep end basically to fix those lane lines. So just a heads up that that's coming. We also went ahead and got material ordered for the storage shed that we're going to be building next to the Miller building. Hopefully that's going to get done before the fall. The other thing that we're starting that we've talked a little bit about before is doing the vehicle barricades around the Longwood Bridge area, that very large. Sorry, I keep forgetting you're on Zoom. He's not listening.
Yes, he is.
Oh, hi. Anyway.
He can't see you.
Can't see you. Oh. So that really big grass area that goes around the bridge, that is going to be the next place where we're going to have the posts with the cable wire going through there. Yes, we will have entrance and exit points during things such as the fair. But other than that, that will be one of the next areas that will be blocked off to keep people from parking on the grass, which we will kindly remind everyone that is an ordinance. When you do park on the grass, you are actually violating an ordinance. So it's nothing new, it's just trying to keep the park looking nice. And also away from the bridge with their vehicles. We are getting ready for the fair at the park. The fair parade is on July 31st. It's at 2 o'clock. It runs through August the 6th. We are just the place where the fair is. Just want to remind everybody who is watching and your constituents that the park, we don't set the prices for the derby. We don't pick the fair queen. We don't we don't provide you a place in the parade. We can't rent you a booth. So please don't call the park office. We can't help you very well. Please get on Facebook, contact the fair board, and you'll get your answers much, much quicker. We did fix Cleo Fountain. I think I told you guys last time it had been dyed purple, and then it turned blue because we didn't regulate our algaecide pump properly. But the guys actually cleaned it today and it's white again. So hopefully we stay with a clean fountain. We do have 2 registrations open right now. We have soccer, fall soccer and machine pitch. Those are both due by August 11th. That is a Thursday. That is a change. It will not be open through Friday, and that is so if you do leave something in the drop box, we will be there to receive it by 4. It should stop any confusion about things in the drop box after we close on a Friday. So August 11th at 4 o'clock, sign up for fall soccer and machine pitch. And the last thing, the most exciting thing that's happening right now is we are ready to break ground at 2nd Street Park. You should have all gotten an invitation on your email. It's July the 29th at 10 a.m. We will be putting shovels in the ground, your traditional groundbreaking ceremony, like breakfast, and it is not open to the public. This is just for our largest donors, the people at the engine and the passenger level. It's kind of a special event to recognize their contributions. There will be a ribbon cutting in the fall when the park is done, and we will be inviting the public to that one. So, but would love to see you there. Any questions?
I got two. One is, I know you're talking about parking. Is somebody gonna be able to go around and fix some of those posts that come out in the lanes? Are they gonna fix those too while they're at it? There's at least two. Some of the posts where it prevents parking is
You
actually.
mean on the bridge area?
No, just around, it's the same type, but it's around like Park Road entrance when you first go in there. On the left-hand side, there's one there, and then on around, there's some of those posts that actually come up.
That might even be in the bridge view, if that's where you're,
Okay.
yeah.
Some
We're
of those
actually
might
gonna
need to be
remove
fixed.
all the old ones. We're gonna put all new ones in,
Okay.
and with that cable wire. So,
Okay, I just know some of them are just sitting there. I don't want them to be getting in the rope in the way or anything.
yeah.
So, especially with fair, if we're gonna maybe kind of clean up the entrances a little bit, and that might be something we take out too.
Jim, you said you had two questions?
That was
Oh.
really it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Jones.
Hello again. Everybody should have a copy of my monthly report for June. We'll start off with the overtime. Overtime is up. We, combining a few injuries with vacation season is not a very good combination. That's the majority of the reason for the increase in the overtime. Any questions on the overtime before we go to fuel? Fuel usage, it was up a little bit also in June. I did have one guy that attended a course that was out of town 3 weekends in a row, so that's probably going to be the increase for the fuel. Obviously, the cost is pretty much self-explanatory with the rising costs of fuel. Any questions on the first page? Alright, we'll move on. Next, we've got the incident report for June. Total of 195 incidents, 66% of those being EMS related, 34% being fire related. We'll see a summary after that, of the runs that we had. Following that, you'll have the report for the year. At the end of June, we had a total of 958 incidents, about the same percentage, fire versus EMS. After that, we'll move on to the training report. You can see the guys did a lot of training again in the month of June. We did do some training on the river. We found a new location on the river that we have easy access to. That was very nice. So we started some river rescue training. We're going to expand on that. We did a lot of basics the first 3 days, and we're going to expand into some more sophisticated rescue scenarios on the river. So it's nice to have access. We've struggled for a long time trying to find a good place to get access to where we can still get out and respond if we have to. So we've been lucky to find a spot. Actually, the city owns a right of way that we found, so that was nice.
Well,
Partial.
we got permission from the
Yeah,
owner,
we got
but it's not
permission from,
ours.
graciously got permission from the landowner that allows us to train also. Total number of training instructed hours for the month was 94 and a half. I did get curious. I had my assistant chief pull up a report on one of the new recruits. He's been on 2 months just to see how many training hours. 2 months he's got 83 and a half training hours. So if there's any questions on how many hours our new training, our new guys get, they get quite a bit. So, all right, last page. Inspections, you'll see total inspections of 12 for the month. Inspections are going pretty well. Received pretty well. We do a pretty good job explaining everything, so that's important. Everybody takes it pretty good, and they understand that we're in there to make everybody safe. So, anybody got any questions?
I have a question about your equipment that you're looking at. To buy?
From the earlier?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I haven't purchased it yet. So.
Getting the grant, let's put it that way.
Okay.
Is that something that can be utilized for other agencies too, that doesn't have one?
Yeah, we plan on offering training, outside. That was one of the biggest things I put in the grant was that obviously we're gonna offer, to anybody that, takes any classes or anybody that wants to, use it in the area. So, yeah, it's, we, applied for that to, like even Dave said from Ivy Tech, is to improve the training in the whole area. So that's gonna come into play with that too. That's gonna be a big help. I mean, right now we don't, I'm sure other places are struggling too, other than, a couple houses that we've had, allows us to do some training in, we have that, we can beat on that pretty good. But, going into somebody's house, you can't tear a whole lot up,
Right.
So, but that's, that's gonna be huge. But yeah, it's gonna be beneficial, to, more than just us.
You can transport that right to the site at
That's the
Tech.
nice thing too, yeah, we can, the goal right now is to place it, probably in the lot at the station. I mean, initially, I'm sure we're gonna be, wearing it out, just, trying out all the different things that it can do. But it's gonna be nice. Like I said, a lot of those scenarios are just hard to replicate. There's only so many doors we can go out and bust in, around town. And all that takes is a few little 2x4 blocks. You just keep replacing them. So any firefighter loves to go bust a door down, so.
I think you didn't mention this tonight, but you did at the Board of Works meeting. It's a no match.
Oh, yeah,
No
yeah,
match grant.
there's no match. Like I said, the total price, and then added, was 36,000, the quote. Nate reached out and got a quote after, he saw that at FDIC, when I saw that grant come open. And we got the quote, and then like I said, we had the $5,000 that's been in non-reverting fund for several years that the Lions Club donated specifically for training facility, type infrastructure. And I did put that in the grant that we had those funds, so then IDHS gave us the other 31 for that. And like I said, it'll be nice, eventually down the road if we can, get a couple of the, 40-foot containers, find a place to put them, build some burn chambers, and then those can attach to the ends. They're made to attach to other containers. So it's kind of the first piece of the puzzle. Obviously today I accepted the award. That's the first step, and then once all that's finished, then we'll move forward on trying to.
I take it from the mailing address, this is manufactured in Washington State.
Yeah, so the next question will be, lead time and whatnot, so. I'm gonna assume that it's not gonna be a super fast process.
Well, we're waiting on a grant, so.
Well, the grant's already approved, so all I gotta do is go through the process, they awarded that, so I replied and accepted it, that's the first step, and then, you go through the, the financial process after that. I don't think it takes too awful long, but however long it takes, it's $31,000 that they're giving me to buy it, so we'll take it.
Absolutely.
And it fits in with our long-term goal of containers.
Right.
We've been trying to get containers and find a place to do them, and
Well, I mean,
this is perfect, because we get a container, now we got,
Yeah.
they fit right onto it, so.
Previous, chiefs before me have had on their agenda to try to get, a training facility going. I mean, that's every fire department's dream, is to be able to do a lot of training and do it locally. So that's the struggle. Like Dave said, he knew before I approached him that this whole side of the state struggles with training. That's one of the biggest things I've heard anywhere I go is, we got to drive an hour to go to a class. So.
Yep.
So I think it's going to benefit the whole region. Really, to be honest with you.
I agree.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Director Coulter.
Howdy. I've had a few things I wanted to talk to you about. Before I forget though, I wanted to mention for those that didn't know, Dave Nutty's dad passed away last Friday, Carl Nutty. And I wanted to mention him because he worked for the city as park superintendent back in the early to mid 80s. So just wanted to mention him. He was 96, so he lived a pretty good long life. So some of the things we got going on. John, you get that picture from today of the compost site? I kind of gave a little talk about that at Board of Works, and I at least wanted to mention to you guys today, David Butch has been working on re-permitting the transfer site and the compost site. The size of that compost site here has been reduced to about half of what it used to be.
and are about 2/3 of what it used to be. We're taking this part because our storage basin kind of encroaches on that, and then the future storage basins that we have to install kind of go here. So the good thing is, when they build this building, they're taking about 2,000 yards of dirt out of this area, and they're gonna push it over here and fill in the biggest part of the place. So we'll have a lot more working area when everything shakes down, but right now it's kind of tight. And I'd also mentioned today, there's, some people aren't extremely happy with the limited hours that we're open. We're open Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday all day. And we just feel like it's working pretty good that we're open about half the time. If we were open more, we would need a full-time employee down there, and we just don't have the people or the money. So this is working pretty well, and the main reason that we limited it is because we can't handle, if we just open it up and don't have somebody down there, we can't handle all the limbs that get brought down there. It's just too much, too many, we can't keep up with them, and we have to spend $30,000 to $50,000 a year to grind them. So we're just trying to manage it the best we can where we don't have to charge people to bring it. We can do this for free the way we've been doing it, and it's mostly the people that are upset are the ones that are the commercial guys, and I understand it, and it's nice for them to have a free place to go, but it's really meant for residential.
When you mentioned today that one of the reasons you have to have somebody man it is because improper things have been dumped there.
You know, they
just
bring
leave it open.
rocks and big old trees and
Furniture.
couches, so it just works out. I think it's working pretty well for most people. For the most people, I think we're serving them pretty good. So we just fixed the sign, so it's, matter of fact, we had to take it back and fix one little error that we'd made when we got the new sign made. I think everybody noticed that. But so it's a little clearer now what the hours are for people. So you might have noticed in our report, I kind of wanted to bring up our fund balances are a little bit low. We went through a lot of transition with all these projects that we're doing. A lot of money has went out, but don't be too concerned. I tell the Board of Works all the time, this last year we've operated in the red just about every month and went in the hole, but we still have $5.3 million in investments. So we have plenty of money sitting off to the side if we need to grab some to operate on until we get through this period of where we just have a lot of outlay of money. We're starting to get squared around and everything's starting to smooth out. So just thought I would mention in case anybody had noticed that. One thing I've been working on, we've been working on a lot of things as far as development. One, I probably had mentioned that we're updating the construction standards in cooperation with the commissioners and the redevelopment commission and area planning. And another thing that we're doing with all the new development we have, and a lot of it tries to go north, we're studying our water capacity up in the north end. We know we have a lot of capacity because Ford used to use about 30 million gallons a month up there. So we can do a lot, but we want to, it's been, what, 15 years since they closed up, so we just want to make sure everything is still the same. And as people ask us questions about what kind of water and sewer we can deliver and take up there, we want to be able to give them accurate answers. So that's something that I've been working through that process. The mayor sits in on some of these meetings with us and helps with what our needs could be in the future and things like that. So
well, that's what was driving a lot of this. We're talking to a lot of people about water capacity and trying to attract companies here. I want a clear answer. I'm always going, hey, what can we do? What can we do?
Well, and it's always, we think we can do this.
Right, so now we've got to clarify what we can do.
Yeah, so that's one of the things we've been working on quite a bit. Also, I don't know if any of you had heard, but Frontier is doing a project to add new fiber all over the city. And so the city hasn't had a process to permit those big projects like that, and we're trying to develop one so that we protect ourselves in case there's any problems with the project. Not saying there will be. It sounds like they've got it planned out where to be a really good project. It'll create some competition and internet around here, which we could use probably.
It already has
Yeah.
door tags on the doors.
Yeah, they promised, I forget what, 2 gigs, I think. And right now, you can only get 1 in Connersville, so. Did anybody have any questions? When I was talking about the compost site, we took 477 loads this month. That tells you how many limbs people have been bringing for the storms. So, once again, if you've noticed that we're getting a pretty good pile of limbs down there, so if anybody goes down there, just kind of be careful and be watching around the corners and things as you're pulling in there.
I have a few things, of course. You say that Verizon's putting in some fiber?
Frontier, yeah.
Frontier.
Frontier. And
They're
you're
doing 40 bores that we know of, and then some drops, so we're still kind of learning what they're doing.
Is there any control on them at this time? And the reason why I ask this question is because I've had several complaints of apparently they've been in the area and what they've done wire work or over the head work, and they've left cutoffs in people's yards and all that sort of stuff. And I don't know how you would control that other than, through a permit prior to that they're required to clean up.
Yeah,
their
that's what we
mess.
want to make sure we do. And they have, were they here at the Board of Works?
Board of Works.
Yeah.
Yes.
They promise that they're going to try to clean up their poles. They're well aware that their stuff's in pretty bad shape. And
I wish they'd clean up the yards they're dropping it in.
well, we're trying to get them up. The city hasn't had a process, and we're trying to develop one so we can make sure we have something in place.
I didn't know if they contacted the city before they come in or what the story was on that, because that's new to me.
If they're working on their existing right of way, then no, there's nothing. It's like the power company, they come in and they have a right to work on it, but this is new infrastructure, and that's what we're looking to permit. And we've also talked about cleaning up the roads, so I don't know if that was even Verizon, Frontier who might have done that. It could have been any one of the telecommunications or even power companies.
This is recently looked like the real recent, like last week stuff, so I'm assuming that it's probably a news service.
What area of town was it in, do you remember?
One of them was up on Oak Street.
I didn't hear about that one, so.
They left a big spool up there too, so I don't know if they're gonna utilize it or whether they forgot it, but they forgot their mess.
We've been talking about that, and these construction standards, I just keep saying that and saying it, but these things will help govern a lot of these situations in the future. So
It'd be hard to control, I get that, but, if they make contact with the city, it'd be nice if we would stress clean up the mess. The other things I have is, apparently, I don't know whether it's the sweeper's problem, or operator's problem, or what, but apparently it's not doing quite the job it should be doing, because it's leaving a mess in a lot of
we've
places.
been having some issues with it. They were down here working on it Friday of last week, so we're trying to get those resolved. It's got a couple of, not major problems, but a couple of things that's not working quite right.
I know this is a lot of negative stuff, so.
That's all right. Just asking questions.
Large holes in the parking lot at the city parking lot for the trucks over here. I mean, pretty large holes that you could probably lose a car in some of them. And there's some limbs hanging over the parking area to the point where,
Over there also.
yeah, over on 6th Street. And the other thing I have is, I've seen the utility was working on Park Road. Did they have a water leak there?
By 19th Street.
Yes.
We had a water leak there right after it was paved. The paving last year caused a leak. And it was the water line to the car wash. And it leaked for some time evidently before it come up. So it had kind of undermined the road. So we got a sinkhole up there and we had to dig it up and get some flowable fill in there. Get it
So
plugged
was
up.
that part of the boring that went under there?
Yeah, that was part of what caused it. But a lot of it I think was caused by the leak. All the water running under the road for a little while, it just kind of
I mean, was that a water boring that they went under?
We, after the leak, we bored a new service over under the road so that we wouldn't have to dig it up. So we did a bore from the main over to the car wash
And
for
then
that
after
service.
that, after it was paved, then it started.
The leak happened after it was paved.
Alright,
So then we fixed it by boring a new service over there so we wouldn't have to dig up the whole street. And
I want to thank the utilities for doing a great job on that. The reason why I say that is because they did it in a expeditious manner, and it looks like they've done a great job, a finished job.
that reminds me, if you're finished, that
Yeah, I'm done.
I wanted to say that NDOT, we have been working very nicely with NDOT. They've been doing us some favors, and we do them some. Sometimes when we have storms and when they get limbs out on the state roads, we help. They came down for us and used a new piece of equipment they've got to grind the arrows off these streets out here that was kind of confusing people last week. And they set up that perimeter, that barricades for us on that project. They came down and got the
A
traffic
park road.
control for us and helped us with that, so we could do it.
That was great. That was
Yeah.
great traffic control.
Yeah.
So kudos to them too.
Any questions? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Brad.
I know you got Adam on the list next, but he's not gonna be here to present, but he gave you a report you can read. Is there any old business? Miscellaneous business? Public forum, anybody from the public? On it, sir.
Real quick, my name is Richard Hopper, and before I was about the cleanup of properties at 127 and 129 Nickel Avenue. I know nothing has taken place or anything done, but I did talk to Nick last week, and he did get one vehicle tagged, and last night about midnight, the man towed it to the neighbor's yard, up above the hill there.
The homeowner did?
Yeah. And this was at 12 o'clock, I was out there squealing tires, and so I called the police, and they came and talked to him, but after they left, he kept on. But I just wondered if, I don't want anybody to forget, you know, about my problem down there.
We have not.
I am trying to get this neighborhood back again.
We are on the same page.
And if, I don't know, I'll have to talk to the police about maybe getting a patrol down there because the drug activity's real bad too. And I just want my neighborhood back.
I
We
agree
understand.
with you.
Yes.
And we did get rid of the cat people, they did move.
They did move, but, people's went in the house and said it's infested with fleas and so it's in bad shape. I don't know if the health department will do anything now. I don't know.
Have to reapproach them.
Yeah. But I just didn't know if maybe you guys has, I think you're in my district. Have you went down there and looked?
Oh, I've been down there several times.
You know, it's,
Back when they was still living in the camper and all that sort of stuff, so.
yeah, it's a mess down there. That whole hillside there, what is that, Junkin Street that goes up around there.
Yeah,
And that's where this guy parked the truck last night up on Junkin Street. His friend lives up there, so that's where he's took 2 trailers,
Every time we
one
tag them, they
vehicle,
move them.
and he's bringing more junk in.
They bring them in, then we gotta start the process over again. It's a long,
I know.
they always find ways to circumvent.
But I just wanted to make sure you guys didn't forget.
Oh, no, sir, we're on it.
Okay, thank you
By
very
the
Appreciate
way,
you coming down.
I like the shirt.
Yes,
I'm all about that this year.
Oh, yeah.
we appreciate you attending.
Okay, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else, closing else out there? Okay. Take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Have a good evening.